On today's episode, we talk to James Skaif, ex-paratrooper, PTI, and founder of Have Fitness. This is episode 6 of the Spartan podcast.
James, how are you today, mate?
Good, thanks, buddy. How are you doing? You well?
Very well, thank you. Very well. Main reason we're getting you on today is we're going to have a little chat about habits, how they've affected you across your life and what you've learned from them, really, mate. Just before we start, just so people get some sort of idea as to your background, mate, do you want to go ahead and just have a little mention about your career so far?
So I left the military back last year. I actually got medically discharged due to an injury I sustained as a PTI. So that wasn't so great. But I started off my career in the army at the age of 21. I served for 7 years in a parachute regiment. And I was lucky enough to become a physical training instructor. I'd done 2 postings of that. So I'd done it for 4 years as a job. Unfortunately, I did get injured, but I learned a lot from it.
Brilliant. James, we'll continue that. Just give us your highs and lows of your military career so far.
The highs would probably be, mate, I'm sure you've experienced as well when you join the Marines, is when you finally pass and get that beret. That is probably the top point of my career, when you sort of you start training, you create those habits to sort of just even get into the military, but it is that vision just to earn that beret. That would probably be the high of my career. My lowest point of my career was obviously when I got medically discharged. I slipped a disc back in 2016. Unfortunately, it was quite a bad injury. I had to have surgery on it, have a microdiscectomy, to have part of my disc removed, because I'd done a lot of physio for about a year, 18 months. It just wasn't getting me anywhere. I was sort of just taking 1 step forward, 2 steps back. So ended up having surgery. But I learned so much from that experience. So, do you know what I mean? Would I change it? No. I wouldn't change my time in the military, and I wouldn't change my time as a physical training instructor, even though it did get me injured.
Yeah, spot on. I mean, obviously, the main reason we've got you on today is talk about the habits that you've managed to build up, not only in the military, but what you've managed to take outside of the military. How would you say your sort of thinking, if you like, has changed from when you first joined the military to as being the man you are today?
So when I first joined the military, to be honest, mate, I didn't really think of it as a sort of a complete sort of lifestyle change reboot. I thought, do you know what I mean, it's just one step at a time. I just started running one day. I was super unfit, really unhealthy. I didn't really think about my nutrition. But at the start, I think one of the best things I didn't overwhelm myself. It's because I didn't actually really know the knowledge. I just started running. It was as simple as that. I carried on eating the same foods as I was eating. I just thought, do you know what, I'm going to chip away at it. Ran 1 mile. Do you know what I mean? I was super unfit, but I just chipped away at my running. And then I thought, do you know what? Nutrition, next part of it, done that. I didn't overwhelm myself with, do you know what I mean, nutrition, running. Do you know what I mean? Actually thinking about the criteria of getting into the military. It was just one thing at a time. And I think, do you know what? That was probably one of the best things I've done.
Yeah, definitely. Do you feel that sometimes, especially in a gym environment, a lot of the time people are overwhelmed with the amount of knowledge that's available via social media and online now?
I think social media can be used, do you know what I mean, the right way and the wrong way. And probably 95% of people use it the wrong way. The fact that they're just so overwhelmed, there's so much information coming at them. I think me and you were talking about this last week, Ryan. How many times have you been through social media and you screenshot stuff? So you're like, that's awesome, that's good information. You don't even look at it again. You're just overwhelming yourself. It's just so much information and just so much out there that it sort of buckles your own goals and your sort of what you actually looking to achieve. So I think probably the best thing to do when it comes to social media with building habits is to probably just follow one person who you sort of look up to, and sort of one person you want to achieve what they've achieved.
Yeah, definitely. James, with regards to that then, to say you could go back to your younger self now, yeah? You're a 21-year-old lad, you're looking at it. What advice through your daily habits now would you give yourself at a younger age?
It's hard to say that, mate, because the journey has got me here. Do you know what I mean? It's not as simple as this is what you need to do. I think it is a learning curve. Everyone has to go through their own battles and struggles to actually get where they want to be. If it was that easy, mate, you'd go on social media, you go, oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger bodybuilding, what did he do? Okay, he trained 7 times a week. This is his diet. Great, I've done it. Do you know what I mean? It's not as simple as that. And I think a lot of people that's what they think it is that easy. They sort of look at maybe a CrossFit Games athlete and they go, yeah, I can achieve that. And they don't actually look at the background on it of going, okay, he done 12 years of Olympic weightlifting. That is why he's in the position he's in.
Yeah.
They're just thinking, yeah, all right, that's the blueprint. I'm going to stick to that and I'm going to get to that goal. And it's just not as simple as that.
I know you used when we were chatting last week, I remember there was a quote you said, and it said, would you fight Mayweather for the money he's on? And you said, of course you would, but you wouldn't do the 30 years hard work he's done prior to that. And I love that quote when you said that last week, because I think...
It pisses me off, though, when, McGregor might be fighting or Canelo, and everyone's going, oh, 30 million, I'd do that. It's like, yeah, but you wouldn't have done the 20 to 25 years of training to get to that position. It's just a bullshit comment on, it's sort of like belittling what they've achieved, and it just gets on my nerves. It's like when we talk about social media and sort of what people have achieved. Mate, me and you, we're guilty of this as well. You sit there and go, it's all right for them. It's all right they're in the gym. It's all right they got good genetics. It's all right they got this. It's like, no, you don't know their journey. You don't know what they've sacrificed to get there. Do you know what I mean? And it's just, I think it's just a poor excuse to get out of it, really. You talk yourself out of it.
Massively. People love to make an excuse for something because it makes it feel easier for them to accept it then. I know when we were chatting as well last week, it's all about, do you really want it? And I know you said you were chatting to one of your mates recently, giving them a bit of advice.
All right, I'm not going to obviously mention any names, but he's good, really good. He's a hard-working guy. Do you know what I mean? He's got good morals. He sat there and basically said, I was just listening to him talking. He was having a little whinge. And in the same conversation, he basically mentioned that he wants to get fitter. He wants to save money. And what was the other one? He's fed up with the commute to work because of traffic. And I just said to him, okay, mate, do you need your car? And he went, oh, I've got it just to get to work. I was like, okay, how far away do you work? All right, 2 miles. Okay, so I just said to him, okay, why don't you sell your car? You don't need it. You'll save money on fuel. You save money on parking. Why don't you get a push bike and cycle to work? And then you don't have to deal with traffic. So that's 3 things he can eliminate from his life. But has he done it? No, he hasn't done it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I think some people just like the idea rather than the actual reality.
Yeah, not knowing how much hard work actually has to go into it.
It's like weight training. There's putting on muscle. You know this, right? It is like, for what you put in and what you get out of it is shit.
Oh, without doubt.
It's shit. You've got to train for years to build a physique. I mean, building I don't know, it could be similar as if you want good biceps, you're not going to get that in a month of training hard. You're going to get that in 5-6 years of training hard. Obviously, depending on your legs and sort of what else you do in that time. But it's like that in life with everything. And people just want the easy road on everything. They want that sort of that path of least resistance. They want that easy route. It's like fad diets. They want that quick fix. They're not actually looking at sort of, what's the saying? Treating a symptom without looking at the cause.
So you're saying now, rather than you even have to think about it, it's more just a habit that you're coming into. So when you wake up in the day, you're going, well, I'm going to the gym later. And I totally relate to that, because I know there's a lot of clients that I do, and they'll build it up in their head. It's a massive deal for them to have to go to the gym and then change their lifestyle. But it's not something that's done overnight either. They need to slowly make little subtle changes over the years. And before you know it, you're at a point in your life where it's just a habit.
Mate, the word is just consistency. It's as simple as that. If you are consistent with something, you will get results. And some people just don't want to do that. They want a quick fix. They don't actually want to go through the process of it. They're just going to live that sort of that dream, and that's going to be it for them. They're just going to make poor excuses up.
Yeah.
If you're consistent with anything you do, you will become good. Look at all the greats. Like, have you watched that documentary, The Last Dance, Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just sickening work ethic. But we sit there and go, oh, it's because it's just genetics. That's what he's born to do, blah, 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 blah. No, it's not. He's not just born to do it. He worked his bollocks off to get there.
Mate, it's funny you said that this week, because I've watched The Last Dance this week, and I've spoken to a couple of people about it, and they were like, oh, I think Michael Jordan's really arrogant the way he's talking. And I was like, he's not at all. He's backed up everything he said, so that's not arrogant in my view.
It's freak of nature, mate. Absolute freak of nature. You're going to get that. Do you know what I mean? When you mix, habit and routine with talent, you're going to get that. But Mate, I always think this as well. I always think little things like this are going to sound mental. Is there something we are like Michael Jordan, like Mike Tyson, like the greats? Is there something that we could do that you're going to be amazing at? Do you know what I mean? That we're actually missing out on?
Yeah.
Is there a habit I could have developed at a younger age? It could have been anything that do you know what I mean? If I stuck to it, I could be, do you know what I mean, making sort of McGregor money, making Mayweather money. But I just haven't sort of gone down that path.
Tapped into it.
Yeah, exactly it, mate. But do you know what I mean, if you live like that, then yeah, you're going to have a bit of a shit life.
I know from your Instagram, Skaif, you are a massive advocate for getting up early in the morning. How important is that to you, mate?
So obviously, I don't like getting out of bed. It's, do you know what I mean, it's a nice warm place. It's, who doesn't like being in bed? Do you know what I mean? But for me, I know that if I actually get up late, I'm going to have a shit day. It's just a habit that I got from I did get it from the army. I've just continued it on. I feel like I'm getting that edge on everyone else. I'm getting that extra 2 hours a day. I get up at 5, they get up at 7. I'm getting 2 hours extra a day to achieve something. So, but that's another one people like to make excuses on, making time to do stuff. Oh, I haven't got time to go to the gym. Bollocks, of course you do. I know I haven't got children like, say yourself, right? You've obviously got a little girl.
Yeah. But then it's me because I've got a gym. So
yeah, exactly. But it's too easy to make excuses about time. And I think getting up early for me is one of the best habits to pick up.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I really do.
And I think
really do.
You just tapped into it there where you said people go, I haven't got time. That is one thing that fucking kills me, mate. You think everyone's got the same 24 hours in a day. Don't get me wrong. Some people got kids, you've got jobs. But you know,
exactly it. People could probably sat there listening to this going, oh, you've got no kids, you don't know what it's like. Yeah, okay, I probably don't know what it's like, but let's be honest, if you're getting up at 7 o'clock, you could be getting up a lot earlier and doing something. Do you know what I mean?
Get up at 6 o'clock.
Get up at 6,
you know
do 50 burpees a day or something like that. I don't know. Just do something. Do something. Just move. It's not hard.
The time you spend. Yeah, without doubt, mate. The time you spend moaning about it, it can actually get something done.
Yeah. Have you heard of the 5-second rule? I think that's a massive one as well for getting up early. That your alarm clock goes off. The first thing that goes through your head is just pressing the snooze button. You mean, fuck it, 10 more minutes, done. Do you mean you need to just jump out of bed? Your brain is there to trick you. It doesn't give a shit about going to the gym. It doesn't give a shit about eating healthy. It just wants to keep you alive, and that is it. It doesn't care about your goals and what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
And I think once you can sort of train that to be on your side, you can actually do good things.
Why do you think most people fail when trying to create a habit?
Overwhelm themselves. I think that's a massive thing. Is there's so much going on, and maybe they're trying to do too much. So they're like, okay, I want to get into training. Okay, I'm going to start meal prepping. I'm going to start dieting. I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week. Do you mean that's not sustainable straight away? Do you mean I've just come off surgery back in March? I've just started training again this week, and I'm not joking. I'm the most motivated person going, and I've created those habits, and I'm happy to go train. But it's hard, mate. I am thinking, shit, this is going to take some going to get what I had back. So I couldn't imagine what it's like for someone starting from zero training to trying to do everything. They just set themselves up to fail.
I fully agree with that. I think you're right, especially like we touched on earlier with the social media. There's so much overwhelming information, if you like, and a lot of it is irrelevant, mainly because the fitness industry is constantly trying to resell itself. You get constantly getting told 6-minute abs, 10-minute workouts, you're going to look like this, and in reality, we both know it doesn't work like that. The
reality of it, it's like everything. Do you mean if you actually eliminated social media, if you have a plan of action, you can achieve great things. But I think if you're just going to sit there on Instagram looking at, do you mean some of the top athletes in the world are doing, you are going to fail. Yeah. You're straight away going to be thinking, oh, okay, what they're doing is just, do you mean what I'm doing is pathetic. You're going to be demoralised from it.
Yeah, without a doubt, mate.
Or what I do, I use Have Fitness for sort of my fitness profile, but I mute all conversation on there. All sort of every Instagram that I follow is muted, so I can't look at it because I don't want that distraction. I don't want it there. I've got my personal Instagram. I might download it. I might sort of log onto it maybe once every 2 weeks, just to sort of have a browse on people that I want to sort of look at what they're putting up, and that is it. I delete it again because I don't want that. I don't want that distraction. If I have my Instagram, I'll set myself up to fail.
Yeah,
I know I will. I'll sit there on the toilet, mate, and then I'll be like, oh shit, I've been on my phone for like 40 minutes looking at dog videos. I'm like, oh, I should be going go and do my rehab, or I should be doing meal prepping or something. So I just think that's an easy way to get off track of social media. I think that's a massive, and also just setting yourself up to fail. It's like, if you want to eat healthy, why would you go and buy chocolate and put it in the cupboard?
Yeah, if you're really serious about what you're trying to achieve, what are you?
If you want to get out of bed in the morning, why would you trust that phone that's next to you that's got a bright button that says snooze on it? Like, I've got an alarm clock outside my room. Do you know what I mean? I'm keen to get up in the morning, but I've got a radio alarm, an old school one, outside my room with my clothes ready to go. Because I made that good decision when I was fully awake to get up and sort of get on my day and do the things I want to do. But when I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I've got that clouded sort of mindset of thinking, do you know what, I could do with another half an hour sleep. So I have to get out of bed. The hardest task is done. Bang, I'm like, oh shit, I'm here now. I might as well just get dressed and go.
We had one of our members the other day writing on the members page, and they said they're struggling for sort of mental mindset when they're during a hard workout. Okay. And there were people chirping in, saying their sort of thoughts. What's your sort of take on that? When you've got a hard physical task ahead of you, which obviously, knowing your past career, you would have had to have gone through at some point, and with your own training, how do you get yourself through those dark workouts?
Everything I do is scaled. Do you know what I mean? So my plan of action is sort of set in place what I want to achieve and what sort of timescale I want to achieve those things. I think setting unrealistic goals can be one of the hardest things. Your expectations through the roof. You think, oh shit, I should be here, but I'm not. Do you know what I mean? As long as you know deep down that you're working your bollocks off, that's all that matters. It's a difficult one when it comes to sort of how hard are you working. Everyone's different. Do you know what I mean? Me and you, Ryan, might be doing a session on the assault bike. You might be better than me. Do you know what I mean? Straight away, that's going to drop my mindset. And then we jump on something else like bench press. I could be stronger than you. Everyone has sort of like different talents in the gym.
Yeah.
Don't take it personally. Too many people just dwell on it and they think, oh shit, I should be here, I should be there. And it's just like, as long as you know you're working your ass off, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and I think another thing as well, mate. I mean, this is something I've never experienced myself because I've always been in this sort of environment. But I think a lot of the time people seem to think people care what someone else is doing, especially in a gym environment as well.
It's pathetic, mate. We live in a world, mate, where we're just, all we want to do is impress people. It's all it's about is social media. Look at my perfect life. Who gives a shit? No one cares. That's the reality. No one actually cares.
Flitting back to the topic of the biggest excuses, one that I know always grinds me, especially when it comes to eating, is to go, yeah, but I really like my food. And that absolutely kills me, mate, when people say that. It's like saying, well, yeah, so do I. I obviously will enjoy a Mars bar. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah, you just got to look at the outcome of it. Do you know what I mean? It's the reality. You eat a pizza every day, you're going to look like shit. Like you can't escape that reality. So that's just get a grip of your own shit, really. Just get a grip and get on with it. Do you know what I mean? I don't like eating. Do you know what I mean? I sit there eating turkey mince and rice and spinach. You know what I mean? It's not. I'm not sat there going, "Oh, I love this." It is what it is. I want results, so I'm going to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I'd say you might agree with me here. Discipline and habits are going to come hand in hand with each other. So if you're not prepared to be disciplined, your habits are never actually going to cement themselves.
That's what it's going to turn into. A discipline is always going to turn to a habit. It's like going to the gym when you start off. You don't really want to train, but you discipline yourself to go and do it. And then over time, you just, next thing you know, you're going there out of habit. You enjoy going to the gym. You enjoy the results you get and you enjoy the benefits you get mentally. So yeah, it all starts off as a discipline.
Yeah.
One thing I hate is when someone goes, "Oh, you're so disciplined." It's like, well, not really. It's just habits. Do you know what I mean? I see people do stuff that I would look at as very disciplined, and do you know what I mean? Some people might look at it as just everyday life.
something that kills me at the moment, I know we were touching on a subject last week, was in social media now, if you seem to go to the gym, somehow you've become some sort of guru and god and mentor for everyone in every part and aspect of their life. Have you seen that recently?
Uh, it's
It
again
kills me.
social media, mate. It's just social media can be so. It can be like a poison for people, mate. It really can. They get up in the morning, they're looking at stuff that is it's not relevant to their life, and they know that it's going to put them in a shit mood, but they do it anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like if you woke up in the morning and looked at, don't know, a physique that you are desiring to get every single day, and you're flicking through hundreds of them, how are you going to feel? Like shit.
Yeah. All the time. All the time. Without
I
that.
feel like shit. I do it, mate. I'll sit there and go, oh, what's, I don't know, Dan Bailey up to? Fucking hell, why is he in such good shape?
Yeah.
Then he goes back to that old saying, it's all right for him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all right for him.
Yeah. Mate, it's true. You're going to end up turning bitter yourself then. It's not a nice place to be.
You've got to set yourself up to win. And it is, do you mean, it does take time, but it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
If you know you want to eat healthy, buy healthy food and don't have any shit, chuck it in the bin. Don't be like, oh, I've got 3 Easter eggs left. I'll just eat them and then I'll just chuck them straight in the fucking bin. Get rid of them.
From your point of view, I know obviously you've just started at your Half Fitness at the moment and you've got a few clients that you're taking on. What do you find hardest when relating to your clients? Do you ever struggle with anything where you're like, I just don't understand why he's thinking like this?
So a few things I struggle with is when people come to me and they're trying to sell themselves. So they sit there and go, oh, yeah, you give it to me. You give me any nutrition plan, I will stick to it. If you give me any training program, I will stick to it. And it's like they're trying to sell it to me. And it's like, well, then straight away I look at their social media, or I drop them a text during a week later and say, how you get on with the nutrition? They're like, oh, no, not so great. I fell off for a couple of days, but I'm back on it now. That's what really grinds my shit.
Yeah.
I don't do it for the fact that I want to make money. I do it for the fact that I want to see people get results.
Yeah. And it's, in a way, I suppose it's slightly not upsetting, but disappointing when you've put a lot of effort into someone and not seeing them return that.
Oh, it's really shit, mate. It's yeah, I'd rather someone sit there and tell me the actual bang on truth. Like, yeah, I struggle to train. I struggle to do this. I struggle to do that. I don't know how I'm going to get on this nutrition plan. I'd rather have the honest truth, just so we can sort of build the foundations on their nutrition, build the foundations on their training, and start off. Not if someone's saying to me, oh, I need to lose, 3 stone. I go on holiday in July. It's May. I need to lose all this weight. Okay, we're going to go on a mad diet, and it's not going to be sustainable.
And a lot of the time, you need to look at what people are doing outside of the gym, not what they're doing inside of it.
Oh, massively, mate. The hour you do in the gym is probably not as important as the other 20 sort of 3 hours you're not in the gym.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sleep, eating, drinking.
Mate, 100%. Like, one thing I do hate is when people go, it's 70% nutrition, 30% training. It's like, no, it's just 100% everything. Just put 100% into the gym, 100% your nutrition, you'll get results. As simple as that.
Yeah. If you're only going to put 70% in, you're only going to get 70% of those results back.
Exactly. But also, people need to understand you don't have to be perfect. Like, if you're on a plan and you slip off for a meal, yeah, you're 1 meal off the diet. All it takes is 1 meal to get back onto it.
It's when that turns into the whole weekend, for example.
Don't dwell on it and go, oh shit, I'm off now. I might as well just carry on for the rest of the day or the rest of the week. Just scrap it and go, yeah, it's happened. Put it in the past and just get on with it. Like when I done my shoot back in, when was it? 2016 when I was dieting for it.
Yeah.
People would look at the photos and sit there and go, oh yeah, you look really good, shredded. But they didn't realise I slipped 3 times on that. I remember sat in bed eating Dairy Milk Dime Bar, watching the Terminator going, shit, I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But the next day I put it straight behind me and just got on with it. I think if you do slip, just get back onto it straight away. It's not, don't sit there and dwell on it and feel sorry for yourself.
What would you say was the hardest bit of when, obviously I know I've seen your pictures of your shoot that you've done, looked insane. What was the hardest part for you going through all of that?
hardest part for me was probably at the end when I actually got the results. It's like when you've got a bit of weight on you, you feel quite good. When you've lost it and you're shredded and you're depleted, you feel really small. So when I'd done that shoot, I thought I looked horrendous. I'm not even joking. I was like, I look so bad.
Yeah.
But now I look back, I'm like, actually, I was in quite good shape.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was just that, I think, it's that mental factor again.
Yeah.
It's all this mindset stuff. You look at yourself, like, I'm sure you've had it, right, where you look at yourself, you're like, oh, I look crap at the minute. But there's people there going, mate, are you mental?
Yeah.
Are you mental? You look so good. And you're like, nah, I don't. I look shit. So yeah, I think it's just that really, mate. Otherwise it was trying to think other things I hated on it. You diet again. It's just, I mean, when you're eating, you're consuming less than you're putting out, you don't feel great.
Yeah. Right down. That's the reality. That's the harsh reality it takes to look like you did at that time.
It is the reality of it. It's not sustainable. It's not enjoyable. So if people look at that and go, that's what I want to do, they have to be 100% committed to doing it.
Yeah, without doubt, mate. What sort of fitness direction do you want to take yourself in moving forward now? Obviously, I know you're just coming off your surgery that you recently had.
Yeah. So for myself, mate, it's just building myself back up. I want to sort of, at the minute, it's just moving and feeling better. Do you know what I mean? So like just movement patterns, squatting well, hinging well, lunging well. Do you know what I mean? Just going back to basics again.
Yeah.
Straight back to basics. Do you know what I mean? Sticking to simple movements, pull-ups, dips, press-ups, body weight movement. Do you know what I mean? If you can't move your body well, you shouldn't be pushing any weight. That's one thing that grinds me. When you see people doing overhead squats and you're looking at it and you're like, you can barely do a bodyweight squat. Why are you doing that? Do the basics well.
Without a doubt, mate. And that's something that I'm like, I'll preach on that as well, mate. It's coming from that military background at the same time when we're doing your press ups, your pull ups, your sit ups. And obviously at the moment with the current quarantine situation, everyone's having to do a lot of more home workouts. And a lot of people, for some reason, seem to think they are somewhat above doing bodyweight movements. They sort of look down their noses at it. And it blows my mind, mate, when I see people trying to shift so much weight using complicated Olympic lifts when they're struggling to do
overcomplicate things. You're just going to get injured. I've done it, mate. When I was through training, obviously over the years, mate, I've done. Do you know what I mean, back in like 5-6 years ago, doing deadlifts, mate. You think, oh yeah, this is great. I can deadlift 4 plates. This is. But the reality of it is, do you know what I mean? It was. Do you know what I mean the risk to reward just doesn't weigh out.
Yeah.
I had to eliminate deadlift from my training now. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't deadlift. I'm not saying that, I mean, but for me personally, it's a movement that I think I don't get anything out of it.
Yeah, that's fair enough, mate. And it's nice to hear that because I know a lot of the time people are like, oh, well, you can't be missing a deadlift out of your training program. What are you on about? That's gospel. But like you just said there,
you've got to create your own path of everything. I don't back squat either anymore.
You got to find what works for you, mate.
You have to go tunnel vision of what you want to achieve. So at the minute, it's just moving better, feeling better, and getting back to the shape I was in. That's sort of my number one goal. I'm not going to look around at what everyone else is doing. Just concentrate on my own shit. Yeah. So focus on number one, mate, and not think about what everyone else is doing. As long as my principles are in place. Not my principles. My priorities are in place. My partner's well, my family are well. Then that's all that matters to me.
Yeah, without a doubt, mate. Without a doubt, that is the priorities there.
Hey, that's what people do get that wrong as well. Is they sometimes fitness takes that's their whole life is fitness. There's more to life than that.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I wanna be in shape. I wanna feel good and look good. But if your priorities are going to suffer, then guess what? You're going to have a knock-on effect with your whole life.
Yeah, I got more respect for the guy that is in good shape, doesn't bang on about it all the time, can do numerous different movements, but at the same time is still holding down his job. He's got a family that he's going back to at the same time. It hasn't all consumed him because, as you know, as well as I do, it's a dark path to go down when that's your only thing. And I think a lot of people are probably realising that now in the current climate. Now that the gyms are shut, actually, it's not the be-all and end-all of everything.
No, training isn't the be-all and end-all. Don't get me wrong, I love it. This is why we're obviously having this conversation in the first place, that common sort of interest of training. But it isn't everything. And I think if you live your life where fitness is everything. If you're not getting paid, do you know what I mean? If you're not a personal trainer, well, I personally think you need to look good to be a personal trainer. I know people have debate there, but do you know what I mean? You're a brand yourself. If you're not an athlete, then it shouldn't be your whole life.
Yeah,
Do
definitely.
you not actually think it's quite sad if it is your whole life?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, without a doubt.
No money out of it, but your sole priority is to have a set of abs, and I'd actually feel sorry for you.
Talk to me about how important it is to be in shape if you're a personal trainer.
This can sort of be a bit of a touchy subject for people. Personally, I think you do need to be in shape to be a personal trainer. That's just my opinion.
I'd have to agree with you.
Do you know what I mean? It's like if you got somebody, I don't know, who's a mechanic and they're driving a car that's, do you know what I mean, spitting out a load of black bloody smoke and it's making loads of creaking noise, would you want him to fix your car? Probably not.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, I know that's probably a bit of a stupid sort of example, but
no, I'd have to agree. I'd have to agree with you there. And this is obviously it's a subject that would cause offence to certain people. But I personally think you need to lead by example. And if you're in the fitness industry, if you are in the fitness industry, I'm not saying everyone needs to be a bodybuilder. Not everyone needs to be a top athlete when it comes to CrossFit or Olympic lifting. But you are your product. And I don't see how anyone can have the cheek to tell anyone how to do something if they can't apply it themselves. For example, myself, comes to Olympic lifting, I'm not your man. That doesn't interest me. I will never brand myself as trying to do that. But if you do want to do some bodyweight movements and get yourself in shape, looking good, get your fitness levels where they need to be, come and see me, because that's what I'm all about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it though, just sort of finding your avenue and rolling with it. Do you know what I mean? Not trying to think I can do everything. Do you know what I mean? It's if you don't know how to do something, it's not your thing, like Olympic lifting, mate. If someone come to me about snatching, I'll be like, mate, I'm not your guy. I'm really not your guy to sort of go on about that. But I guess it can work the other way as well, where if all your content is you're putting up is just you in shape, then that can sort of have a bad effect as well. You sort of have to, it's sort of just getting a happy medium with it.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I know, obviously, I'm not going to name any names at the moment, but there's a lot of local PTs that like to just put out pictures of themselves rather than their clients. And personally, for me, as a PT and a gym owner, it's about your clients, not what you've managed to achieve all the time.
Yeah, 100%, definitely. But that's going to sort of wind up some people. They're going to sort of go, you're chatting shit, but this is all opinion based. So fuck it, if anyone's got an issue with it, then it is what it is. It's just one of those things. You know what I mean? If I wanted to, I don't know, get to the next step of fitness and sort of, I don't know, achieve my next goal on, I don't know, it could be, for example, doing a bodybuilding show. I'm going to go to someone who's been there and done that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Someone who's actually done a show. I'm not going to go to somebody who's studied it. That's just my opinion. I would go to somebody who's been there and done it. Do you mean like joining the military? Would you actually want to get advice of someone who's done it or someone who's just knows everything about it?
Yeah, without a doubt, mate. And that's a very good point. A very good point. And this is what blows my mind in the fitness industry, how many people take advice from the wrong places.
Yeah, I think that's social media again.
Yeah, social media's got a lot to answer for.
Oh, mate, it does. But like I say, it can be used the right way, it can be the wrong way. There's just so much out there, so much information. And you're like, what should I take? Mate, I've done it with my injury, right? So when I first sort of got diagnosed with a slip disc, mate, I was on YouTube, I was on everything looking up information, mate. And I got do you know what I mean? I got head fucked with it. There's just so much thrown at me. But then I just went and seen a chiropractor, one person who sort of changed everything for me, just listened to one opinion.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think training's exactly the same.
How much of effect would you say having a positive mindset helps you when you're training?
Massively, yeah. But do you know what I mean? Going to the gym with a bit of, maybe if you've got a bit of I've been to the gym many a times where, do you know what I mean, it's not sort of gone to plan. My nutrition might have been a bit shit that morning, or do you know what I mean? But then I have the best workout. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, you have to understand with training is you're never going to have do you know what I mean, a perfect session every time. And if you can accept that, you're going to be a lot happier. How many times have you been to the gym and done a session and gone, that was an absolute waste of time?
Probably once every 4 months, maybe.
Yeah. It happens, mate. And do you know what I mean? I think that's a difficult one to say because I've gone to the gym with a really shit mindset, being sort of, do you know what I mean? Maybe a little just in a bad mood, and it's been the best thing I've done.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then I've gone to the gym, do you know what I mean? Buzzing, happy, full of caffeine, thinking I'm gonna have the best session in the world, and then guess what? It just goes to shit.
I've got to ask at the same time, because obviously you're coming from a military background. How hard do you find it when, obviously I know what it's like when you're in the military, you get told to do something, you do it. Do you find it hard now when you're telling people to do certain things and they don't necessarily listen or take on the advice that you've given them?
To a degree, I guess it's sort of like it annoys me when you give them all the advice and you give them all the encouragement, and do you know what I mean, they sort of maybe be a bit like, oh, now they've been off their diet, and then a month later they're sort of texting you going, mate, I'm not losing any weight. That's when it pisses me off, and I'll sort of say, well, it's on you. Do you know what I mean? What's that saying? You can leave a horse to water, but you can't force it. Do you know what I mean? I'll encourage someone as much as I can, but if they don't want to do it, then that's their problem. It's on them.
Yeah, flat out, mate.
Do you know what I mean? And that's not me saying that I would sort of give up on someone. If I give someone 100%, I want it back. If I'm going to give someone 100% with coaching and with training, if they're going to give me 60% back, it's on them.
Yeah,
they're going to have to live with that. I'm not.
When it comes down to, this is a good question we got asked the other day. How much responsibility lies with the trainer, and how much responsibility lies with the client? Do you think?
100% on both of them. Do you know what I mean? If a coach puts in 50%, then do you know what I mean? What can the client do? He's got to put in 100%. So does the client. I think it's also building a sort of a relationship as well.
Yeah.
It can have that knock-on effect. If you just go in there and give 50% but expecting 100% result, then unlucky, it ain't going to happen. But coaches exactly the same. If they're going to half-ass their training and sort of just not put a lot of time into them, then I mean their client's not going to get results, and also it's going to have a knock-on effect on their business.
Yeah, without a doubt, mate. Without a doubt.
It's 100% in everything, really. If I put 100% into someone, I expect it back. If they don't, fucking, it's on them. I think it's their results. They're going to be at home looking at themselves, going, "Oh shit, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not."
Yeah.
I know that sounds a bit harsh, but it's the truth.
No, it's the reality. Do you think we're in a society now where people they don't like to look in the mirror hard enough? They don't like to hear that truth.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we do live in a very soft world. Do you know what I mean? You say something to someone, they're just going to get offended. I'm sure the conversation we've had today, right? People are going to be like, "Oh, you're wrong here, you're wrong there," but this is just opinion. Do you know what I mean? If you've got an issue with it, you've got an issue with it. It is what it is.
Yeah, people just getting offended too easily, really.
Yeah, mate, all the time. You can't. Do you know what I mean? If someone sat there and said to me, "James, you need to get a grip of your shit. You need to do this, you do that," yeah, I might sort of take offence to it for, do you know what I mean, a split second, but maybe it could be the best thing that's happened to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what's it? Michael Jordan's, like, I think it was his dad that said, the best thing you could do to him is tell him he can't do it. And he would just want to prove you wrong. Sometimes people, they just thrive off that. You sit there and go, yeah, mate, you're chatting shit. You can't do that. You can't achieve that. And guess what? They're just going to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
So it can have sort of that effect as well.
I find it real interesting how different people react to being told negatively and being told positive reactions, especially when I'm using clients. I encourage some, yeah, they take it on, that really helps them. If I tell some that they're not performing to where they should be today, they either get that bit between their teeth and they actually start digging out blind and going for it, which I find that quite interesting.
Yeah, definitely. If you sat here now, mate, and said, if I turned around to you and said, "Hey, I want to do an Ironman," for example, and you said, "Yeah, that would be good, mate. Yeah, cool." But if you turn around and you said, "Mate, you won't be able to do that," I'd buzz off that.
Yeah,
I would buzz off it and go, "Okay, cool. Okay, I'll prove you wrong." Well, that's just how I react personally.
Yeah, and then I suppose some people will go completely the other way.
I had that with joining when I joined the Paras, mate. I remember the people. I can tell you their names, who said to me, "Yeah, you won't get in. You won't achieve that." And I was like, "Okay."
Mate, I'm the exact same. I literally got I remember being an Exeter. One of my mates I went to school with, he'd previously got it. He went into the Marines. He only lasted about 3 weeks in training. I remember seeing him out in town, and he heard that I was about to try giving it a go. I remember him just turning around to me and going, "Mate, you're never gonna last it," and that just stuck with me, mate. That was it. I mean, I'll remember it now.
I think it's good to sort of maybe tell people, like, you've got to be completely honest with you or with them. If you've got a client who you think is not sort of working at full potential, and you got to address it to them. You can't sit there and go, "Oh yeah, well done." They're not going to get the results. They need the harsh truth to say, "Do you know what? I think you need to get a bit of a grip. I think you need to start working harder. You're not giving me 100%."
Yeah.
Later on down the road, they're going to respect that. Yeah, I think that's just the last thing, like talking about habits. I think, especially like with what me and you have done with joining, obviously being in the Paras and Marines, it's just how habits can embody your identity. I think that's a massive one as well. We can sort of tap into. So, like say joining the Marines, joining the Paras, you done, obviously you created habits to get into that position to call yourself a commando, call yourself a paratrooper. Do you mean if I went to church once, would I be religious? No. If I went, do you mean every Sunday for 10 years, then do you mean I've embodied my identity as religious?
That's a good way of looking at it.
Matt Fraser, he didn't just become the best CrossFit Games athlete. That's his title. He obviously, do you mean, created habits to sort of work on and get that title. I think that's a massive one as well, that people need to understand. If they want to achieve something, they can just, do you mean, it's just getting a plan of action together, habits, and you can achieve it. Look at Mike Tyson, 20 years old, the youngest heavyweight, do you mean, there's ever been, and that's his title, just from going to the boxing gym every day religiously. Simple as that.
Mate, that brings me to a question, obviously a quote that you've just mentioned there from Mike Tyson. And he said, to be successful, you have to sacrifice your happiness. What do you think about that?
To a degree, you have to, because it's like getting up in the morning. Would I be happier staying in bed and getting an extra 2 hours sleep? Yeah, probably. But the reality is I want to go out to the gym and I want to thrash myself. Do you mean it's back to that old thing? It's all right for them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Well, how am I going to be 5 years down the line, keep creating those habits? I'm going to be in a lot better position. I don't want to do it. I don't want to get up early. I don't want to eat turkey and rice. I don't want to, drink protein shakes. I'd rather, have some potato smileys and some fucking sausages. Eat like kid food, mate, and have a pizza at the weekend and just get on with it. But the sad reality is, if you want to achieve something, you have to sacrifice, definitely.
Yeah, sometimes sacrificing that short-term happiness for that long-term happiness is sometimes what you need to do.
Mate, okay, have you ever eaten a Domino's pizza and felt great after it?
No.
Exactly. You think of it as this amazing thing. Like when was it? The other day, I had a tub of Ben & Jerry's because do you know what? I was like, I talked myself into it. I was like, do you know what? You deserve it. You haven't had one in ages. Just smash one down. And I'd done it and I felt like shit. I woke up in the morning, dry throat, dry lips, and I was just like, why? Like, what did I get out of that? Nothing.
Yeah.
But your mind would just say, do you know what? You deserve it.
Yeah.
And you got to live with that. If that's what you want to do every weekend, and you're going to talk yourself into it and doing reverse diet over one meal, crack on. You're going to have to live with the results.
Yeah. Don't be sad about the results that you're going to get from that.
Yeah, people want a pat on the back for it, and it's like, do you mean I've worked hard all week, so I deserve this? It's like, just stick to the plan. Don't slip out. Having Domino's pizza, or having a full fat pizza. What are you talking? 3,000 calories, 3,500 calories,
easy.
And you feel like shit. You reverse the diet over one meal. So yeah, sacrifice.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I've sat there. I've had people sit there with me and going, do you know what I mean? I've had like, I don't know, go out for food and I'll be like, do you know what? I'm just going to have some new potatoes and a steak. And they sit there and go, oh, you're so boring. And I look at them and I'm like, look at you. Like,
the reason that happens though is because it makes them feel better about themselves.
Of course it is, mate. Like, oh, you're just boring. You don't do this. You don't do that. And then when you get the results, they sit there and go, oh, mate, how'd you do that? And it's like, well, just.
Hey, that's a great analogy to use there, because you see that all the time. How did you manage to get like that? Well, yeah, it's because I haven't done all those things that you've just done for the last few years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
not some sort of miracle that happens.
That's not me saying that you shouldn't enjoy, do you know what I mean, a pizza here and then. You shouldn't, do you know what I mean, do that. Like, I say that now, but I will do it. I'll guarantee I'll have a Ben & Jerry's again in my life. I will have a pizza again in my life. I'm not saying that I'm never going to do those things. I'm just saying when I do, I feel like shit. I don't enjoy it when I have it. you know what I mean? I might enjoy it for that 5 minutes while I'm scoffing it down, but afterwards I'm like, I should have just had some prawns and a steak.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That short-term fix. Or I get up an hour later and I get up and I'm like, why didn't I just get up at 5? Like I said, why do I just go back to bed?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying that I'm perfect and I do all these things religiously. I probably do them 98, 95% of the time. Do you know what I mean? It's happened. I'm sure it happens to the top athletes. Do you know what I mean? Sure, they slip here and there, but the only difference is they just get back on it straight away.
Yeah, without a doubt, mate.
It
All comes back to that mindset at the end of the day.
Of course, mate. Of course, it's just so. Yeah, man. I think when it comes to habits, it's just consistency. Don't beat yourself up and don't overwhelm yourself with stuff. If you're noticing yourself just looking at social media and feeling like shit, get rid of it. If you notice you're buying food and having it in the house and just, do you know what I mean, you think, do you know what, I'll save up for a cheat meal when you're having it on a Wednesday night, throw it in the bin. Just don't have it. Don't set yourself up to fail.
Yeah, without a doubt, mate. Without a doubt. That's great advice. Yeah, so we'll talk more about the CrossFit community versus the bodybuilding, because I know when
touchy subject.
It's a very touchy subject. It's going to piss off a lot of people. I know that. But when this comes into it, obviously, I know the fitness industry, and I've talked about it before, has changed massively, especially in the last 10 years. I don't know if it's about you, mate, but I know when I was younger, it was all about just getting as big as you can, as strong as you can.
Oh, mate, 100%. When you first start training, all you want to do is just get jacked. That's it. It's like, how do I get as big as possible? How do I get my arms as big as possible? How can I neglect my legs? That's it, isn't it?
Yeah, mate, without a doubt. And I know, to be honest, I've only really looked into, you can call it CrossFit, call it functional training, whatever you want to call it. It's only really coming to me since I've come, really in the Marines. Before that, I was just on your usual sort of bro split, 3 days a week, doing your shoulders, tris, back and buys.
100%. Ours is exactly the same, mate. Exactly the same.
And then suddenly this new fitness has burst onto the scene. And to be honest, I think for the better as well.
Mate, you know what? I genuinely like CrossFit. I think it's good, mate. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's not getting used the right way. Do you know what I mean? You'll get people that go into the gym, and you also get some very poor coaching. You'll get people like, I'm not going to say who it was, but I know somebody who went to a CrossFit gym. They had shoulder issues, and I was saying, so do you know what I mean? What sort of training are you doing? They're like, yeah, I'm doing overhead squats, I'm doing some snatching. I was like, cool, can you do some pull-ups? No. I'm like, why the fuck are you doing advanced Olympic weightlifting when you can't even pull your own body weight?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think that's where CrossFit gets its bad name.
From a personal ideology, really, where would you say people need to start when they're coming into their training? More the body weight basics?
100%. If I was going to coach somebody, I would stick to just pure body weight. If you can't squat your own body weight, pull your own body weight, press your own body weight, you shouldn't be adding resistance.
Yeah. And I know this is always a big thing.
There's regressions, progressions in everything you do. I mean, if you can't do a press up, go onto your knees. If you struggle doing that, do it on a bench. If you struggle doing that, do it on a wall. I mean, you can make things as easy as possible.
Yeah.
If you can't do a pull up, you put 10 bands on, you can do a pull up then. I think it's just where, do you know what I mean, the basics aren't sexy. People aren't interested in the basics.
Yeah.
Do you know, they're looking at stuff and they're going, oh, cool, I want to do you mean do some I want to do some snatching. It's like, well, slow down, big lad. Do the basics right, do them well, and then move on to that.
Yeah, and it's crazy, really, because when we're both coming from a military background, which is pretty much, mate, you're obviously a PTI, but nothing's really changed massively when you look at the military in the last 100 years when it comes to fitness. It's always been your pull-ups, your press-ups, your running. But people seem to try and reinvent fitness all the time at the moment.
Reinvent it, stick to like you say then, what did you do in training when you were in the Marines that was just, do you know what I mean, that would class you as an elite soldier?
The running, the pull-ups, the press-ups, and the yomping.
Exactly, the basics. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was in training, mate, it was like PTI, like get your Bergen on and you just get melted. Do you know what I mean? You just get thrashed for like 2 or 3 hours, but you're just doing basics. You're running with resistance on your back. That is, you're running with a Bergen. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and with that, I don't know about yourself, but that's personally, when I was going through basic, was probably one of the fittest I've ever been in my life.
Oh, 100% super fit. Like the fittest I've ever been was when I was in Purbury as a PTI. So me and there was two other lads with me, one called Jack and one called Josh. And I tell you what, we just done it was just tabbing every day running, and I'm not joking. Just that's all we're doing really, just running and tabbing, and I was just so fit. And we went and competed at I think it was the Superhuman Games in Bristol. We barely done any sort of training for it. I think we trained like maybe 3 or 4 times, me and Jack, but we ended up winning it.
Yeah,
because it was simple, basic movements. It was like as simple as run 400 meters and then row for as many calories as you can in the next sort of remaining 20 minutes.
Yeah, about that. What would you say is how do I word this without offending everybody? But with regards to the CrossFit scene, I see a lot of people looking, I want to say distinctly average for the amount that they're training, whereas you can get guys doing your usual sort of bro splits and looking pretty in shape, to be honest. But not.
I think you need to look at what you're trying to achieve. Are you getting into CrossFit to compete? Because if you're getting into CrossFit to compete, you need to learn the fundamentals of CrossFit. Do you know what I mean? You've got to learn the Olympic lifting. You've got to learn the gymnastics. You've got to, do you know what I mean, learn all those sort of disciplines. I get it then. But if you are looking to get jacked and that is your only goal, then I'd probably say no.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think about that. I'm sure people are going, fuck off, that's not true. Look at Rich Froning. Yeah, look at Rich Froning. But
yeah, so that was going to be my next question.
You're
going to get people looking at Rich Froning, Dan Bailey, all these top level CrossFit athletes, thinking that they're going to follow these online programs and they're going to look like that after a few years, even a 6-month training program. What do you say to those sort of people?
No, it's not going to happen. Well, it all depends, really. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what level are you training at? If you're like them and you can afford to train, do you know what I mean, 5-6 times a day, which they probably are. Do you know what I mean? Like Rich Froning, when they were training sort of for the games. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a CrossFit guru because I'm not, but they're not training. They're not doing a 20-minute AMRAP a day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? These boys are probably doing like, I don't know, a swim in the morning, doing Olympic weightlifting for a couple of hours, doing numerous EMOMs, AMRAPs in the daytime. I mean, they're not just going for an hour a day.
Yeah.
So I think if you're gonna, it's like bodybuilding. You can't sit there going, yeah, I want to get in shape and looking at Phil Heath. Do you mean because it ain't gonna happen?
Do you believe that there's? I know, obviously, we've
actually that. No, I could. Sorry, just to sort of go back on that one. You can achieve it if that's your sole goal is to get to a bodybuilder, and you put everything into it. You don't. You can afford not to work. You can afford to train 2 or 3 times a day. You can achieve it, but if it doesn't sort of suit your lifestyle and you can't put in the sort of the dedication they can, then no, you can't achieve that.
Yeah, without doubt, mate. Without doubt.
So I'm not saying that people can't achieve things, because people can achieve whatever they want, but it's, do you know what I mean, how much time have you got? How much money have you got? Yeah. How much patience have you got? Do you know what I mean? If you want to be a pro bodybuilder, you'll be taking 15, 20 years of training? Talk
to me about people that say there's no anabolic steroids at top flight CrossFit.
That's a hard one, isn't it? Because people can sit there. If I say there is, people can sit there going, well, they haven't been tested positive. They haven't. But look at sort of, what's that CrossFit Games documentary that was on? And that, what's he called? Is it Ricky Gerard?
Yeah, Ricky Gerard, yeah.
Like, I couldn't even look at my dad. I couldn't do this. Boom, tested positive. And you're like, wait a minute, he got caught out. So, of course, yeah, there is. There's got to be.
The reason I asked that is obviously you look at the CrossFit Games, say 10 years ago, and you see Annie Thorisdottir, and she's won it. And her physique when she won it 10 years ago compared to now, don't get me wrong, that's 10 years more of training, but the women don't look like that. They never did back then either.
They're jacked now.
They're bigger than most blokes.
They can get on stage, mate. Do you know what I mean? They can just, do you know what I mean, compete, do a bit of CrossFit in the afternoon and go and get on the Olympia stage. They're jacked, and so are the blokes. They're jacked as well. I think you'd be you know what I mean? I think it's not saying in a haters way that they're all on steroids, because I don't think that's the fact that they're all on steroids, but there's definitely going to be steroids in it. There's got to be.
Yeah, it's like any sport.
Yeah, it's like saying, do you know what I mean? You look at these guys on Instagram that, I mean, they can't sit there and say they're on steroids because their sponsors will drop them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all about money, isn't it? They're risking it for a payday. They sit there and go, yeah, I take this, I take that. Guess what? Sponsors are going to go, yeah, cheers, mate. Bye. Gone. Lifestyle's gone. So there's got to be steroids in CrossFit, but there's steroids in so many different sports as well.
Yeah, I know. Me and you have both talked about sort of that you can class yourself as a hybrid athlete. So using sort of CrossFit programming with bodybuilding movements, which is something that I quite like training. That's pretty much how I train.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
That's sort of how I train as well, mate. I don't want to be a master at one thing. I want to be doing all right at lots of things. I don't do any Olympic lifting. I don't do any gymnastics because I don't want to do it. I don't feel like I need to do it. That's not my goal. My goal isn't to do bar muscle ups. My goal isn't to do handstand walks. My goal is to be in shape, be fit, and just move well. That's it. So a standard workout for me could look like, I don't know, like I said earlier, doing 10 sets of pull-ups and then doing a 20-minute AMRAP with an assault bike and press-ups. Do you know what I mean? As simple as that, done.
Back to basics.
That's just how I train.
Yeah.
It's definitely back to basics is what I enjoy doing. I think that's a lot of it as well. If you don't enjoy it, it's not sustainable. You're not going to stick to it.
Yeah.
I could probably go on a better programming, something that would sort of get me better results. But if I don't enjoy it, what's the point?
Would you agree with me when I say it seems to be, I would say, especially in the last couple of years, people would, I don't know, I find them saying less that they're training for looks now, which looking good is something I would say is a massive priority when I look at training. But for some reason recently, I don't know if you find this, but I feel like people are scared to say that the reason they're training is because they want to look better.
Oh, mate, 100%. I train because I want to look good. That's it. A vanity reason. I want to look good. But the added benefits of it's healthy. It's going to prolong my life. I'm going to sort of live a longevity. There's loads of other pros to it. But yeah, the sole priority of why I train is because I want to look good. Yeah, definitely. I think some people they're scared to say that. They're scared to sit there and go, I train because I want to stand on a beach and look jacked.
Yeah.
I mean, they're too scared to say that. They think they've got to say this sort of this deep meaning that, oh, I'm doing it to, I don't know, some reason they sort of made up in their heads that so people can sort of relate to it.
Yeah, which is crazy, really, when you think about it.
I mean, it is what it is. You just got to be honest with yourself. If you're doing it to get absolutely jacked and that's your goal, do it.
Yeah, without a doubt.
But obviously, there are people out there that are doing it for mental health reasons, and I completely understand that. Maybe before I looked at that, I think, oh, all right, mate. But since being able not to train recently, I've really it's had that knock-on effect going, actually, I can relate to this now. I can relate why people train to sort of just to keep their mindset elsewhere. Sort of finish off, CrossFit is obviously good, but there is some shit that comes from it. But it's like it comes from any sport. There's shit that comes from bodybuilding.
Yeah.
There's shit that comes from, I'm sure, do you mean what other sports? Olympic lifting or whatever your goal is, there's going to be some crap out there. But as long as you enjoy doing what you're doing, you're getting results you want and you're not going to get injured, that's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. I'd say taking the steps slowly as well. Stop trying to become a master at everything. I know I've done it in the past before where I'm like, right, this month I'm going to learn muscle ups, I'm going to learn handstand push-ups, I'm going to do double unders. I'd say just focus on one area that you're going to improve, work it, get it in your armory, and then move on to the next thing.
Patience is massive with training because if you want to, do you know what I mean, lose weight out or put some size on, you got to have patience.
I think we're good on that list, Skaif. I think we're good.
Yeah, man. Cool.
It was at this moment Ryan Adkins realised he didn't record an outro.